Good morning, students. Dear students, in continuation with the video lectures on motion in a plane, that is chapter 4, we are continuing to part 4 of this video lecture. As in the previous part, that is part 3, we had discussed about the addition of vectors, and in that addition of vectors we had discussed about various rules for addition, that is triangle law of addition, parallelogram law of addition, polygon law of addition, and some results we had derived for addition of vectors. Now today we will discuss about certain points regarding addition of vectors. So regarding vector addition, regarding vector addition, vector addition, following points, following points must be noted. What are the points which must be considered regarding discussion of addition of vectors? The first point is two vectors of the same type are added together. Two vectors of same type can be added together and the resultant will be the same vector. The resultant will be the same vector. It means to say that if two vectors of same type can be added together, means if example force can be added to force only, and the result will be force. Means if two force vector cannot be added with velocity vector, force vector cannot be added with displacement vector, force vector can be added only with force vector, and whatever the resultant we get, the resultant or result will be the force vector only. So this point should be kept in mind while studying about the vectors. Second point of discussion is vector addition is always commutative. Vector addition is always commutative. Vector addition is always commutative. That means what? If suppose we have taken vector p plus vector q, then it must be equal to vector q plus vector b. Means vector p plus vector q must be equal to vector q. Look at here, I am explaining it. Suppose in the diagram AB is representing vector p and AD is representing vector q. So by parallel translation, this vector becomes p and this vector becomes q, and the resultant r is equal to vector p plus vector q, as we had discussed in the parallelogram law of vector addition. Now look at here, suppose this is C. So in triangle ABC, what we have got, vector P plus vector Q is equal to vector R, and in triangle ADC, what you had got, we had got vector Q plus vector P is equal to R. In equation 1, what we are observing, that vector P plus vector Q is equal to R, and in equation 2 we had observed that vector Q plus vector P is equal to R. So from 1 and 2, what we can say, vector P plus vector Q is equal to vector Q plus vector P. Vector P plus vector Q is equal to vector Q plus vector P. It means that it obeys commutative law of vector addition, or it obeys commutation. Now we will check for associativity. Vector addition obeys associative law. Vector addition is associative. Vector addition is associative. Vector addition is associative. It means to say that if associative law of associative P plus Q plus R, that is equal to vector P plus vector Q plus vector R. It means that vector P plus vector Q plus vector means, if three vectors we had supposed, then the result of two vectors Q plus R and the result of P plus Q, both the results will be same. The fourth property is resultant R vector, magnitude of resultant vector is P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. 2PQ cos theta. So from here, if any one unknown from vector P, Q, R and theta can be calculated by this. By the help of this formula, any of the unknown can be calculated. If there are four variables P, Q, R, theta, and if any one of the variables, suppose you are not knowing the value of R, and you are knowing the value of P, Q and theta, then by using the formula you can calculate the value of R. Suppose you are not knowing the value of theta and you are knowing the value of R, P, Q, then theta can be calculated by using this formula. Now the condition for maximum and minimum resultant vectors. Condition for maximum and minimum. So as you know that magnitude of resultant vector can be given by P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. So R will be maximum. When R will be maximum? R will be maximum when the cos theta value will be maximum. And as you know that the value of cos theta will be maximum at 1. Value of cos theta is maximum at 1, that is cos 0 degree. So value of cos theta is equal to 1, that is theta is equal to 0 degree. So the value of R max will be, value of maximum value of resultant is equal to P plus Q. How it is P plus Q? Look at here. R is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ, and it is equal to under root P plus Q whole square, and R max can be written as P plus Q. So the maximum value of resultant can be at theta is equal to 0 degree, and as you know that the theta varies. For cos theta, the variation of theta is from 0 to 180 degree. One cycle is completed, and after the same cycle is repeated. So what will be the minimum value of theta? What will be the minimum value of theta? We will have to think for the minimum value of theta. The minimum value of resultant vector R. Sorry, minimum value of resultant vector R. So the resultant will be minimum. The resultant will be minimum. When the resultant will be minimum, if cos theta is equal to minimum, and that is equal to -1, and it is possible only when theta is equal to 180 degree, when theta is equal to 180 degree, and it is possible when the two vectors are anti-parallel. I will explain it by diagrammatically both the things. So if both the vectors are anti-parallel, and in this case R minimum is equal to, look at here, under root P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos 180 degree, and it is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ -1, and it is equal to P square plus Q square minus 2PQ, and it is equal to P minus Q whole square. So R minimum is equal to P minus Q. The minimum value of resultant is P minus Q as cos 9, and this is the case for anti-parallel case. Now when two vectors are perpendicular to each other, means if P and Q are orthogonal, if vector P and Q are orthogonal. Orthogonal means to say that both the vectors are perpendicular to each other. That is, theta is equal to 90 degree. So look at here, resultant R vector is equal to P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos 90 degree, and the value of cos 90 degree, as you are remembering the graph theta, at 90 degree it will be 0. So this term becomes 0, and the resultant vector becomes P square plus Q square. Now pictorially I am representing all the three cases, that is case 5, 6 and 7, that is R max, R min and R orthogonal. For R max, this is P vector. Suppose this is P vector, and the parallel vector, that is Q vector. So the resultant will be given by R vector is equal to vector P plus vector Q. R vector is equal to vector P plus vector Q. This is the parallel case, R max, parallel, both the vectors are parallel, and here we will get R max, that is equal to P plus Q. Now the case of anti-parallel, this is vector P and this is vector Q. Both the vectors are anti-parallel. Both the vectors are anti-parallel. So the resultant will be R vector is equal to vector P minus vector Q. Vector P minus vector Q. Here theta is equal to 180 degree and the resultant is given by vector P minus vector Q. Vector P. This is the case of anti-parallel case. And if the vectors are orthogonal, third case, if the vectors are orthogonal. If the vectors are orthogonal, means 90 degree. If vector P and vector Q, vector P and vector Q, both the vectors are orthogonal, then the resultant of these vectors can be given by R is equal to under root P square plus Q square, as we have did. Here theta is equal to 90 degree. Angle between these two vectors will be 90 degree. Clear, students? So this is the case of orthogonal. Now from all the cases, as you know that from next point, that is point 8, as we had seen R max is equal to P plus Q and R mean, resultant mean is equal to P minus Q, and we know that cos theta varies from theta is equal to 0 degree to 90 degree. So a resultant of any two vectors, a resultant of any two vectors, resultant of any two vectors can have any value, can have any value depending upon any value from theta is equal to 0 to 180 degree. Means if the resultant R can be written by P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta, means the value of theta is varying from 0 to 180 degree, and by the variation of theta is equal to 0 to 180 degree, we can change the value of resultant. Now next, is R minimum is equal to P minus Q when theta is equal to 180 degree. So P is not equal to Q. If unequal vectors, two unequal vectors can never be 0. Two unequal vectors can never be 0. If there are two unequal vectors, then we must get, and if there are two equal vectors, then equal vectors cancel out and we will get the resultant 0. But two unequal vectors can never be 0. So after that, if two unequal vectors can never be 0, then how many vectors are required to make the resultant 0? तो minimum 3 number of unequal vectors. Minimum 3 number of unequal vectors. Look at here. Third point. How many number of unequal vectors required to make the resultant 0? So look at here how many vectors. This is vector P. This is vector Q. There are 2 vectors. And if we draw a vector R in the same sequence as of vector P and Q, then what can you write it as? You can write it as P, vector P plus vector Q plus vector R is equal to 0. And from here you can write that vector R is equal to negative of vector P plus vector Q. Now tell me, what is the resultant of vector P and Q? The resultant by the triangle law will be like that. And from here we can write it as this is the R. If it is R, then it is negative of R. This is negative of R. So we can write it as R is equal to negative of R. And in this way, 3 vectors are required to make the resultant 0. So, minimum 3 vectors are required to make the resultant 0. 3 vectors are required to make the resultant 0. Means vectors should be coplanar. Vectors should be coplanar. Means all these vectors are lying in the same plane. And now look at here, one most interesting point, next point related to this. 3 non-polar coplanar vectors can never be given. The resultant of 3 non-coplanar vectors can never be 0. The resultant of 3 non-coplanar vectors can never be 0. Non-coplanar vectors means to say that what the vectors which are not lying in the same plane. Suppose I am telling that one vector is in this plane, other vector is in this plane, and another vector is in this plane. So combinedly all 3 vectors cannot be equal to 0. Suppose by displacing I am cancelling this vector, then one vector will remain uncancelled. So 4 non-coplanar vectors are required to make the resultant. So, how many non-coplanar vectors are required? 4 non-coplanar vectors are required to make the resultant 0, and 3 planar vectors, minimum 3 planar vectors are required to make the resultant 0. Clear to these things might be clear to you. Now we will discuss about subtraction of vectors. Next heading is subtraction of vectors. Subtraction of vectors. Subtraction of vector from a vector. Subtraction of vector from a vector. Subtraction of vector from a vector. This is nothing. It is simply addition of a given vector, addition of a given vector with its negative vector, addition of a given vector with a given vector, or addition of a given vector with negative vector. It is not necessary. If it is its negative vector, then it will cancel out and it becomes 0. So it is addition of a vector with negative vector. So if there are suppose two vectors, we had supposed, I'm just running to make diagram pictorially. Look at here, students, and try to understand all these things. That is, suppose this is vector P and this is vector Q. So the resultant of these vectors is vector P plus vector Q. Vector P plus vector Q. Now we want to subtract vector Q from vector P. So what we will do, this is vector P, and if this vector is making an angle theta, and this angle is making an angle theta, then this angle becomes 180 minus theta. This angle will become 180 minus theta, and this vector can be written as minus of q vector. Minus of q vector. Now this vector and this vector, the resultant is this vector, and it can be written p plus minus of q vector. So we can write it as vector p minus vector q is equal to vector p plus minus of q vector. So here resultant can be calculated as vector r is equal to p square plus q square plus 2pq cos 180 minus theta, and it can be written as cos 180 minus theta, cos 180 minus theta, it is equal to minus of cos theta. So it can be written as magnitude of resultant for the subtraction of two vectors equal to p square plus q square 1 by p square, and it is minus 2pq under minus 2pq under root cos theta minus under root cos theta. This is the magnitude of resultant of two vectors for the subtraction of vectors. Next point is subtraction of vectors is not commutative. 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 It means to say that is vector p minus vector q is not equal to vector q minus vector p, but it is equal to minus vector q minus vector p. Negative of this is equal to p minus q, but it is not equal to q minus p. And another thing, next thing and important thing is that change in a vector, change in a vector physical quantity, change in a vector physical quantity means subtraction of initial vector from final vector. Initial vector from final vector. Initial vector from final vector. It means to say that if you are saying that change in velocity or change in displacement, I am taking its example, change in displacement, change in displacement, it can be written as delta x, and final displacement minus initial displacement, delta v, final velocity minus initial velocity. So this is the main meaning of change of any vector. This is the meaning of change of any vector. So we had discussed almost all the properties of vectors regarding vector addition and subtraction. So try to learn it, try to understand it, try to grasp it, and this is all about today's video. So thank you students, have a nice day, take care.